Alright everyone, welcome back to Joe Man's Land. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today we're going to be going into 5 reasons you should buy the Nikon Z8. And yes, beside me, there is a tank because this camera is going to be a beast.
Well, listen up, City Jim!
So on the subject of that, let's get into reason number 1, which is the build quality.
I'm built different.
The Nikon Z lineup is nothing if not robust. If you ever get your hands on any Nikon Z camera, I don't care.
ZFC, Z50, Z5, or Z7, Z7 II, or even a Z9.
Every single one of those cameras feels like a tank, which is amazing. Even my Nikon Z6 is built so well. While these cameras are made out of magnesium and it's predicted that the Z8 is going to be made out of some sort of polycarbonate material, the durability of this camera cannot be overstated. In the past, Nikon did make some of their DSLRs out of a more plasticky polycarbonate material, so the fact that the Z8 is potentially going to be made out of this same material is not a bad thing. If you guys have ever gotten your hands on an older like D90, D80, or any of the older DSLRs Nikon produced, they were amazing. They were so tough. You could use them anywhere from the Sahara all the way to Antarctica, and you wouldn't run into any issues in terms of weatherproofing. But let's stop talking about build quality. Let's go into reason number 2. Reason number 2 has to be the concept of having one camera, right? One camera to rule them all.
One ring to rule them all.
You're not carrying around 2 different camera bodies, one for photo, one for video. You're using one camera for all of your client work. In order to have a camera that does this well professionally, it has to meet some certain minimum requirements for both photo and video. So what makes an ideal hybrid camera? What we're looking for is a camera that's got killer video and killer photo and doesn't sacrifice one for the other. Yes, of course, if you're wanting a designated video camera, typically the lower the megapixel count, the better the readout, which is kind of counterintuitive from a photographer's perspective, because usually for photographers, if you have a higher megapixel image, it means you can crop it later and fix it in post and reframe. So as a result of that, when we're looking for a hybrid camera to do both photo and video, we need that sensor to be good for both photo and video applications. And the Nikon Z8 is rumored to have the same sensor as the Z9, which looks incredible in video, and it's a 45 megapixel stacked sensor. There really aren't any other amazing stacked sensors of that megapixel count currently. The Z9 was leading when it first came out and brought that to the market, and it still is today. Now, of course, most people that are used to shooting with the Z6 or Z7 would typically say that the Z6 is better for video than the Z7. But this stacked sensor that's going to be coming on the Z8 could actually be as good, if not better. But let's move on to reason number 3. Reason number 3 isn't rocket science, it is the video specifications of the Z8 being amazing. So far, the rumors that have been coming out on Nikon Rumors and other sites like that really haven't been focusing on as much on the video aspect of this camera, but what I have seen looks amazing. So one of my only complaints about the Z6 as it stands now is the fact that I cannot do 10-bit internal recording.
You know something? Nothing for you!
Yes, I know I could spend $600, get an Atmos Ninja 5, plug it in, then I would get that 10-bit 4K footage in N-Log. But the whole point of having a hybrid camera, something that you can use for everything, is you don't need a whole bunch of things to plug into it. And the Z8 looks like it's going to solve this problem. It's smaller than the Z9, but it will be doing 10-bit N-Log internal recording, which is amazing. And let's say you want to reframe later. You can shoot in 8K 60. That means you can slow it down and also crop in on a 4K timeline. A lot of photographers and some videographers as well don't think that 8K is necessary.
Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? Probably not. No, but I do it anyway because it's sterile and I like the taste.
Right, we don't really have 8K TVs. Typically the highest res you'll edit in is 6K, usually 4K though. Some people still do 1080, but that 8K footage means that you can actually crop in and post on a 4K timeline, which is amazing. Also as well, for a more expensive camera that you buy, you're not looking to replace it right away. So by having 8K, it's foolproofing it for the future for other resolutions as they continue to develop. It wasn't that long ago that 4K seemed crazy, and now it's becoming the new 1080. But that's enough about video. Let's move on to our 4th reason why the Z8 should be considered by more photographers and videographers. The next reason why is the color profiles on these cameras. The color science is amazing, but maybe you want to do lots of editing. The NEF RAW recording out of Z cameras is phenomenal. I don't have a ton of experience working with RAW files from any other manufacturer other than Nikon. So all I can tell you is for sure that the Z6 files that I shoot in RAW are awesome for photos. Okay, so let's get into the fifth and final reason why you might want to consider buying the Z8 as a hybrid shooter. This one's probably the most obvious to people that live in the Nikon Z ecosystem, but might be new to some folks that are watching this video. That being the Nikon Z lineup of lenses. A lot of people that shoot Nikon glass never go back to anyone else. Yes, when the Z6 and Z7 originally came out, there were very limited options because they were still producing a lot of f-mount glass and DSLRs at that time. But since then, the lineup has been rounded out and there are lots of amazing prime and zoom lenses for different price points. And as well, there's even more third-party manufacturing going on these days. Sigma's recently announced some of their APS-C lenses for the ZFC lineup. And there are makers, of course, like Yaguno, Viltrox, Meke that have full-frame prime options. But I'm starting to get pretty toasty, so let's go find a spot to wrap this video up. Some of you probably already know this if you're a returning viewer of my channel, but if you don't know, I am a hybrid shooter.
This one got a gas engine in her. It's electric and runs off of car batteries. Reading about these fancy hybrid cars? I've seen the future, and it's me driving a big suppository.
I use my Z6 for literally everything. So that begs the question, will I be buying a Z8? But no, I'm not getting the Z8. But it's not for the reason you might think. At the end of the day, you have to look at the number of clients you have, the amount of income you have coming in from your gear, and then evaluate whether or not A, this camera is gonna add a lot to what you're already doing, and B, can you really afford it? Yes, of course, me and many of my fellow photographers could just go out, buy the camera, no problem. But the camera is actually overkill for what I do. Most of the work I do that requires a camera is social media related as well as web. I don't do big prints, I don't blow stuff up, I don't do fashion.
No! I'm spent.
So having that larger megapixel sensor just isn't something I need. That being said, if tomorrow Nikon said, hey, you can try out the Z8, I would love that. In fact, Nikon, if you're watching this, check out the email below, we can connect on there. But otherwise, the Z8's probably not gonna be in my arsenal anytime soon. So folks, let's leave this one here. The Z8 launch is coming soon and it's very exciting. And it's a camera that I think a lot of people should consider. But let's leave it there. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and oh crap. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and remember to take beautiful photos every single day. Don't do it for the views, do it for yourself, and I can't wait to see how many people buy the Nikon Z8. Whew.